Oh,
Man, I
man.
want to keep all of this in. If I could keep all of this in, I would do it. Like, oh my gosh! But we should start. We should start. We'll catch up when we're afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, dude, you added my questions into the doc. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special new release episode of Not Your Father's Movies. I'm Vito.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jesse, and we are the Dad Fathers coming at you with, not Black Widow energy, but we are widowers. But we're not widowers because
We're not widowers.
we're all happily married men. we are superhero people coming at you.
Super people energy.
That's good. We found
super energy. Yeah, super dad energy. There we go.
Super
That's
dad
going to be
energy.
the new standard. That's this new Marvel standard for our pod, I think.
Super dad energy.
Super dad energy.
Exactly,
Super dad.
and not like the dad in Invincible, like an actual super dad, like Mr. Incredible.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
But so we're doing Black Widow. It just recently came out in theaters, also on Disney Plus and their premiere access, and I'm certain probably later in the year just to regular streaming. It's been a big deal. It's obviously the first new MCU thing that we've had that wasn't a TV show in quite some time.
Yeah. 2 years?
About 2 years.
About 2 years since 2019.
Far From Home.
Far From Home. That's right.
Spider-Man Far From Home 2019, and this is 2021, and we're finally getting this one, and it's been delayed a year and a half?
It's been delayed a little bit over a year and a couple months. I believe it was supposed to come out back last May. It was pushed a bunch of times, and it was supposed to be the launch of MCU's Phase 4, finishing up after the Far From Home concluded the Endgame kind of saga. And after this movie, we were supposed to have gotten the Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki TV shows, but because of the way that everything's worked, this came out after those three things. All this to say, it's a brand new MCU movie. Everyone's going back to theaters. This made in its opening weekend about $70 million in domestic box office, and about $60 million according to Disney based on their premiere access. Pretty good.
Wow. Okay.
Cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I will say that this is the first movie I've seen in theaters since The Rise of Skywalker, and I'm happy to erase that as the last movie I saw in theaters. Finally.
That is a pretty depressing one to have seen last. This is the second movie I've seen in theaters since
right.
Limbo. You should all see Limbo.
That's right. Mike is still beating the Limbo drum. But
Watch
this is
Limbo.
This is
right.
also the first movie that I've seen in theaters since Rise of Skywalker as well.
And I saw the same preview, same trailer.
Which one?
It was the Ryan Reynolds one.
Oh,
The
yeah.
one where
I also saw that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Eventually, Free Guy will actually come out in theaters someday.
It's like, man, I haven't been in movie theater for a year and a half, and it's the same trailer. This is unbelievable. Times are weird, man.
It's Groundhog Day. It
Yeah.
really is.
I'm just seeing just Ryan Reynolds' face again from like 3 years ago when they actually shot the thing. And I've already seen him and he already looks older, but this movie's going to come out after those things and he looks younger. Time is weird. This is 2021. We are still catching up from everything being delayed back in 2020. And it's nice that we get a big movie like this finally out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to talk about it. But this was directed by Kate Shortland. She's a fairly new indie director. She has done 2 movies of late that have gotten some consideration and notoriety. Berlin Syndrome in 2014, 15, and then Lore a little bit earlier than that in 2012. And I heard of both of these when they came out. I haven't seen either, but people were really impressed with her work. And judging from this movie, I think that she will have a fairly good career after this. But it stars Scarlett Johansson. We all know Scarlett Johansson.
Who's Scarlett Johansson, Vito?
Just one of the biggest movie stars of the past 20 years.
Most known for Jojo Rabbit, right?
I thought it was Lost in Translation.
And Marriage Story, which I feel like has been in the hearts and minds, or at least the minds of people, if not the hearts. I'm not sure if it's in my heart. I don't know. She's in Marriage Story, and
She's fantastic in Marriage Story.
She's great. I just have weird feelings about Marriage Story.
I love Marriage Story. It lives in my heart, at least. It's been living there rent-free for a long time. We'll talk about it someday, I'm sure. But even apart from Lost in Translation and Marriage Story and Jojo Rabbit, she's also fantastic in Her. She's fantastic in what was that Jonathan Glazer movie? Under the Skin. She's fantastic. She's amazing in Under the Skin. She's actually like a very good actress.
She really is.
Like constantly acts in these smaller movies and then shows up as Black Widow.
Yeah,
you know?
And she's great as Black Widow.
How many MCU movies does she show up in?
It's every Avengers movie. It is
4.
Iron Man 2.
Is that where she first shows up? Iron
yes,
Man 2?
That's
her first movie.
And then Captain America 2 and 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is her 8th.
I feel like I'm forgetting a movie where she like shows up for a scene. You know what I mean? Like, because they do that where someone will be around, they'll walk by or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that happened. Or, I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe she showed up in a few episodes of that in the background. I don't know.
Maybe. Here, you know what? We're actually going to answer this with the IMDb.
You know what?
Oh my
it
god,
does exist. We do have the internet.
We do.
The internet. What is the internet? Is it like a box?
Like in the IT crowd.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hang on. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. 1, 2, 3. She's in Captain Marvel uncredited. 4.
Oh, yeah.
5,
that doesn't count. She shows up in the end credit scene.
6, 7, 8, 9. She's in 9.
She's in 9.
Yeah.
Look at that.
The only reason it counts is because Marvel signed everyone, I think, to like 9 movie contracts.
Yeah.
But we named 8 of them that she like had a main role in. That's cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Good memories, guys. I'm proud of you both.
Yeah. All right, and then coming up though,
Captain
I think
Marvel
we have
today, and I can't. Yeah,
I don't remember her in that
I
at all.
forgot it. Oh, she
Okay.
also voices Kaa in the Jungle Book, and she's in Hail Caesar.
She
Oh
is.
yeah, that's right.
She's in that Ghost in the Shell remake that we shouldn't talk about because it's terrible and disrespectful.
And she's in a movie that some people have been telling us to do, at least a few times, called Chef.
Called Chef.
Oh yeah, so all of you out there that have been clamoring for Chef, we have received your emails. We thank you for reaching out, and we are working vigorously to figure out where we can put that.
Probably we'll do another fan request series one of these days.
Oh yeah, we should look into doing that.
Yeah, we should.
We just have so many more fans than we used to.
I know,
like thousands, right?
They're in
At
the
least
millions. I keep buying fans. Who else is in this, Vito?
Disgusting. We also have
one more shout out.
Oh,
holy
she's
fuck.
in The Prestige, which we've covered before.
Yeah.
We've actually talked
She's
about
in,
Scarlett Johansson before.
She's in a ton of movies. You know,
That's true.
she's a great actress, and she works a lot, like a lot. She's in big movies.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'm just waiting just to make sure that we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We also have the rising superstar Florence Pugh. I have been dying to do this. Florence Pugh is the greatest new actress coming on the scene. Saoirse Ronan is amazing. Florence Pugh is better. I'm sorry. Florence Pugh.
Is she better?
I think Florence Pugh is
I
better.
haven't seen. I don't think I've seen any of the other movies she's in.
Florence Pugh can do things with her face that I have not seen any actress ever do.
I mean, she's great.
In Midsommar specifically, I have never seen someone act with such a great range and depth of emotion as she does. I think that she will be in our lives for a long time, and it's about time that she got a huge movie to at least co-lead. You know, she's a huge deal, and I think will be a huge deal for a long time.
That's cool. I think she's the best part of this. She's fantastic.
I agree.
Yeah, she's wonderful in this.
Yeah, she's really good. But apart from this, I mean, she's obviously in Little Women, Midsommar. She's in Lady Macbeth. She's in Fighting with My Family. She did a really cool miniseries based on the Jean Le Carré novel called Little Drummer Girl. Yeah, and she's got a bright future. I can't wait to see what she comes up with.
Yeah.
But we also have Hollywood royalty here, Rachel Weisz. We all know Rachel Weisz. You remember her in the Mummy movies? Fantastic.
Actually, she's the one I haven't looked up, but I was watching her face the whole time, and I was just like, who is this? Like, I know I've seen her 1,000 times before, And then I know Vito's going to get really mad when I say I don't recognize her. But
It's
what?
okay. It's all right. I understand. No, she's also in The Favorite. She was one of, she might have been one of the best things about The Favorite. She's also in The Lobster for a little while. She's in Lovely Bones. She's in The Brothers Bloom. You might remember her as the voice of Saphira in Aragon.
I don't remember
You
that.
guys remember
She is in the
Aragon?
fountain.
No.
And she's in the Fountain. She plays the twins in Constantine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, About a Boy, the Mummy movies, Enemy at the Gates. Yeah, I liked Rachel Weisz for a long time, and it's really cool to see her showing up here. Kind of like Michelle Pfeiffer did in Ant-Man and the Wasp. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
a
Michelle
really big
Pfeiffer.
deal. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
I've seen
lot
a
of the
lot of
budget
these
went
movies.
right there.
That's cool. I've seen a
No,
lot
no.
of these movies. So that's nice.
We also have David Harbour coming here. Stranger Things guy. It's
Yeah.
Sheriff Hopper.
Yeah.
We love Sheriff Hopper.
Yeah,
Have you caught up on Stranger Things, Jesse?
I think before you did. So yeah.
Oh, spicy.
Do we still like Stranger Things? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I
I
didn't
like-
dislike season
yeah.
3 as much as everyone else did.
Yeah, I enjoyed season 3. It felt a little more bland. I mean, had some weird horror aspects with like everybody being mind controlled or whatever. That was cool.
Yeah.
But like, it felt more generic, which is weird to say because the first two kind of feel generic too.
I loved the monster though, made out of the rat corpses. That was really fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
I loved that.
It was
There
so
was a lot about it that I
disgusting.
really liked, yeah.
Yeah, the season 2 for me was the one I did not like. I thought season 2 was super boring. It was very hard for me to get through.
It's pretty forgettable.
It-
I don't really remember it.
Well, it's just
I have forgotten
the
it.
monster's a shadow monster, and you're like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
I genuinely love season 2. I loved season 2 probably more than season 1, and then season 3 is mediocre for me.
Wow. I was super bored in season 2. Like, I actually think I might have full on left the room while it was playing sometimes and just walked back and forth through it just to get through an episode. Like, did not connect with me.
That's crazy. Like, man,
Yeah.
I was so into it. Anyway, but David Harbour is also in Hellboy. The new
He
Hellboy.
is the reboot of Hellboy. If you want to hear discussion on the reboot of Hellboy, you can listen to our friend of the show, David, and his podcast SBCAC, and we did a full breakdown of Hellboy, and we talk a lot about that movie.
One more thing. Going back to Stranger Things, I forgot that I wanted to say this, but at the end of season 3, spoilers, guys, if you are into Stranger Things and haven't seen season 3 yet, but he's like imprisoned in Russia in the 80s,
See,
which means he could very well turn out to be the what's his name in here?
the Crimson Dynamo.
The Crimson. I actually almost called him the Crimson
red-
Dynamo.
The Red Giant? What is it? The
I
red
don't fucking
Captain America?
It's a generic red name anyway, but it's just like that lines up with
He's
this
Alexei.
timeline.
It might
Yeah.
be.
It does. That's so maybe Stranger Things is MCU. Maybe that's
Yes.
how they're gonna finally get the mutants into the MCU.
It's like that meme where people cut into things and it's cake. If you cut into movies, it's just MCU.
Well, Disney owns everything except
Exactly.
for that because it's owned by Netflix.
Exactly.
So you never know.
Just wait till Disney owns Netflix.
Yeah.
It'll happen someday. But David Harbour is also in a very good movie this year that I think a lot of people will not look at. At least I think it's very good. I know friend of the show, Sir, thinks differently, but he's also in No Sudden Move with Don Cheadle and Benicio del Toro, and he's fantastic in No Sudden Move. He might give the best acting performance in that movie for my money. He's got chops.
Okay.
Boy's got
That's
chops.
cool.
He's not just fat and funny.
Okay, that's a question that I have because I've only seen him in this and in Stranger Things, and like he did a special that was like sort of funny, but I turned it off. But like it felt with Stranger Things, he went from being an interesting character to just being fat and funny, which is part of why like the seasons progressively have gotten worse for me. And here, like he's fat and he's funny, and that's kind of it. But so it's good to hear that there's something out there that
I
need
think
to check out.
I think he wants to work, and I think he wants to do interesting stuff, and he wants
Yeah.
to choose good projects. And I think that especially for a character actor who is big and imposing like him, kind of like Jason Segel,
Yeah.
if you can be fat and funny, or at least big and funny, I think there's just a lot of pressure on you to just do that
Yeah,
and not like try and expand and do something else.
for sure. And if Marvel comes at you and says, "Hey, do you want to be in one of our movies?" You say yes.
Yeah.
No matter kind of what
Yeah.
they're going to ask you to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But rounding out our cast list here, I'd like to just mention Ray Winstone plays our bad guy. I think his name is Dreykov. Yeah, Dreykov. And Ray Winstone is a really fun actor. He usually plays very curmudgeonly, angry British dudes. You might remember him as Mr. French in The Departed. Do you remember
Departed.
that? Yeah. He's sort of Jack Nicholson's like muscle, you know?
Yeah.
He's also in he played Beowulf in the CGI Beowulf movie.
That's great. I got to see that.
Did you guys? None of you guys see that?
I saw glimpses of it, and then I said, I don't really want to watch this.
Yeah, I didn't want to see that.
There's a great moment where he says, "I am Beowulf," and that's like the best part of the movie. So just watch that on YouTube, and then you're good.
Was that supposed to be like a 300 ripoff?
It's not clear. I don't know what it was trying to be, but whatever it was, it didn't do it. But he's also he was in Cats last year, which is really fun. You guys like Cats? Cats is great.
It's my favorite movie.
Not that movie.
He was in Noah. Yeah. He was Tubal Cain in Noah.
Yeah, he's the bad guy in Noah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
fantastic in that. And he's in Hugo. He's in Rango. Yeah, he's in Rango. Of course he is. Everyone that was good was
maybe
in Rango.
A future episode on the pod here, Vito. Is that a future episode?
If Vito has his way, then yes.
Oh, he was in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the best Indiana Jones movie.
Oh,
that's
best,
true.
Yeah,
yeah, everyone loves that one.
Everyone loves that one.
It
I don't know how they're going to top that.
Yeah. Quintessential Indiana Jones. You can skip the other ones. Just watch that one.
Why is this about an old guy and Shia LaBeouf?
I just feel sad. There's ants and aliens. I don't know.
And monkeys. Lots of monkeys.
Yeah, lots of monkeys.
So that kind of rounds out our cast list. It's kind of a smaller cast than usual.
Yeah,
but the names are very big and I think are well chosen. It's written by Eric Pearson, who we talked about previously on our Kong versus Godzilla episode. He's also written for Thor Ragnarok, and it's based on a story by Jack Schaefer, who recently was the showrunner and chief writer for WandaVision for the MCU, and also Ned Benson, whose only real other work is The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, which is a very strange 2013 indie film starring Jessica Chastain and James McAvoy. They made 3 movies. They made The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, Him and Her, which were the same story told from 2 different perspectives. And then a combined one called Them, which they released in theaters. And you had to buy the Blu-ray disc to get the other 2 movies that they made. It was a bizarre experiment. I'm not sure it totally worked, but it was cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, it's interesting.
I don't know how that could work, because like if I was going to the theater and I was like, this is the 3rd in a trilogy, well, I want to watch the other 2.
But it's not really. It's the same story, but for the Him, it's James McAvoy's perspective, his point of view. For Her, it's Jessica Chastain's, and the Them one is the re-edited and cut together version of both movies to provide you with one cohesive movie.
I mean, that's interesting, but I still want to see the other 2 beforehand.
Exactly, and I think that led to a lot of confusion when the movie came out, which is why I think it's kind of forgotten. But it was a weird experiment, and it's strange to see Ned Benson here, like resurfacing after years since that movie on a Black Widow movie. I don't understand what happened.
Like how do you get that job?
But
good for him, though. I mean, like, that's great.
It's scored. This movie is scored instead of our usual Alan Silvestri for the Avengers stuff. It's actually scored by Lauren Balfe. And this is notable because it's going to play into something we're going to talk about in this. He's the Mission Impossible composer. He's done so many of these movies. He's going to do the next 2. He just did the last one. But this guy works a lot. He's done the Florida Project, the Lego Batman movie, Assassin's Creed 3, the video game, Megamind. I don't understand his career, but it's clear he loves composing music.
And he gets a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work. His IMDb is crazy.
But I think that kind of rounds out who we're going to talk about. I might leave a discussion on Kevin Feige for maybe an MCU movie that maybe feels a little bit more important to the MCU itself.
Is that how you pronounce his name? Kevin Feige?
I have been saying it that way, and I've heard almost everyone else say it every other kind of way you can say it. I've heard Feige.
I think it's
I've heard Feig.
Kevin Feige.
Yeah, I say Feig. I say Feig when I read that name.
I'm just gonna call him Kevin F.
Kevin.
Mr. F.
Can we just call it Kev or call him Kev?
Yeah, Kev.
Our dude Kev.
Our big man Kev, who shepherds the MCU. Yeah, let's just push talking about him to a different time.
Yeah.
So why we're doing this movie? Why are we doing this movie? Mike, thoughts?
Well, we like to do a new release every year, and this is every month, and this is a big one. I mean, it's the first, like we said, it's the first MCU that's coming out in almost 2 years, and it's really awesome to see Black Widow finally get her own movie. All of her other co-Avengers have gotten their own movies for a while, or at least most of them. It's cool it's cool that they're making one about her. That's mostly why we wanted to do it, right? Anything?
Yeah. It's an MCU movie.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't really covered those at all, and it seems appropriate to cover one on a new release segment, because they come out frequently. We're probably going to hit a few more up as they come. But we've refrained from talking about this for 40 something episodes of our podcast. We thought it was time.
It was time. These have been coming out since I was 18 or something, 17. Yeah. They've been a big part of my, they've been around a lot for all of my growing up. I've seen most of them.
They have dominated my social media since 2008, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. That was 13 years ago. Oh, they've been around
for
a long time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long time. Yeah, so that's kind of why we're doing it. First impressions. Jesse, when you watched this, did you think to yourself, wow, what a dung pile?
That's a good question. So also to put some context into this, again, this is the first time I've been back to theaters in a long time. And also, I think I had mentioned before that I had left off watching superhero movies for a while, which means I have some holes, and I filled all of them.
Holy cow. Nice. How many holes?
That was 6 holes. Or 5 holes. It was 5. Yeah.
Wait, so 5 MCU movies you watched, including this one?
No, including this one at 6. Before. So just for the movies beforehand, it was Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which I had never seen.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I had heard it. Oh, this is the best one. It was really good. But I never liked the first Captain America. So it was I feel like I'm just being built up, and I'll wait years until I have proper expectations of this, because I'm probably just going to think it's all right. And that's kind of what I thought. I thought it was pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's everyone who's fanboying out, saying oh, they did a 70s thriller. No, they didn't. It's a Marvel movie, and it just looks a little bit different. And Robert Redford's kind of sneaky. Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
I think now having it in perspective, it seems like the first time there's a Marvel movie that has big implications for the rest of the Marvel movies, which is that S.H.I.E.L.D''s not around anymore.
Right.
So I think that also, if you look back on it, that's finally one of the Marvel movies that has something big happen.
It feels like it matters a little bit.
Is it the first one that's building up towards Endgame? I guess Infinity War, building up all of the. Well, no, because the Avengers came out before it, right?
Yeah, but it's doing away with S.H.I.E.L.D., who is a big deal in Avengers. It's getting rid of S.H.I.E.L.D., saying that Hydra had been oh, by the way, spoilers.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of spoilers in this episode. I don't know.
Yeah,
listen at your own peril.
Sorry,
anyway,
these have been around.
So I thought that one was fine, and it was a good Marvel movie. That's what I thought about it. And then, I watched Ant-Man, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Ant-Man I thought it was funny, it was okay. And then Ant-Man and the Wasp I thought it kind of stunk.
Yeah.
I still enjoy Paul Rudd in that role, though.
Oh, of course. He's what makes it watchable, right?
Oh, yeah.
You just love watching him on screen being confused and befuddled and thrown around.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it is. Paul Rudd is the best part of that. Oh, and then Spider-Man Far From Home and Captain Marvel. And I enjoyed Spider-Man Far From Home, except I thought it was too long. But I thought it was fine.
Jake Gyllenhaal is the best part of that movie for me.
Yeah,
I love him.
yeah, and the Mysterio sequences when like
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man doesn't know what on earth is going on. I'm like, this is perfect. I've never seen anything quite like this before. At least in
yeah,
a Marvel movie. This is awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's like 8 minutes out of the movie are like really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 8 minutes.
Did you like the drones? Are you a fan of the drones?
So dumb.
I mean, yeah, like of all the things I wanted Mysterio to do, to control a drone army is not at the top of the list.
Never would have considered it.
I mean, the chase scenes between the drones and Spider-Man were kind of fun, though. Like, that's cool.
And
Like,
the end of the movie, like the post-credit scene, like is cool. Like there's some cool stuff. I don't know. Vaguely cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, having watched all these movies mashed together, like, Far From Home is like, oh, this is pretty good.
It's on the top of that pile of whatever the pile that is.
But one of the most important reasons why I watched those movies was because I wanted to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, because the Wasp had a female protagonist in it.
Played by Evangeline Lilly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, she's clearly not the star compared to Paul Rudd, but, like, it's the best Marvel has to offer in terms of, like, female protagonist stories. Except for Captain Marvel, which I also watch, and wow, like, she is just such an uncompelling character.
Yeah.
I was very bored. And then I saw this. And I was kind of blown away by this, at least for the first half. For the first half, I was just like, I've never seen a story quite like this. This is kind of new and unique, and there's like a pseudo family dynamics going on. I don't know if somebody's going to explode violently at any moment at like one of their compadres that they have. But like, and then there's a second half when they get to the giant floating ship, and it's just like, this is the Marvel I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then
we got a thing in the sky. We got to break into the thing in the sky, destroy it, get the thing that we need from the thing, and then get out alive.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
And everyone's going to get out alive. We know it.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah, I knew exactly what was happening. It's just like, all right, now we've gone back to straight Marvel. So I really enjoyed the first half, and then the second half I thought was good Marvel stuff. But nothing I hadn't like particularly seen before. But I do enjoy, well, except for a couple other things. Like I enjoy like the confrontation of the villain, who I despised in this. Like I had like a visceral hatred of this guy, unlike any other Marvel movie I've had. Even Thanos. Thanos is just like, dude, you're just misguided or whatever. But this guy, I just want him to die. Yeah. Anyway, so I liked it. This was like somewhere between a 3.5 and 4-star movie. I guess I'll say 4 stars.
Dang, okay. So I did not watch half of the MCU before seeing this. Or immediately before.
To be fair to Jesse, he didn't either. He watched like a quarter.
Yeah. That's fair. I had just finished watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier though. Which, that's whatever. I loved the first, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes of this movie. I saw the same thing. It was like, wow, this is new. This does not feel like a Marvel movie. It's like, it's not something that you'd want to show you. I don't know. It's not a kid's movie.
Not at all.
Like most of the Marvel movies, I feel like there's dark elements to them or whatever, but they're kind of kids movies. Like they're light.
Well, they're appropriate for children to see. You know what I mean? Like, they can be kind of violent and kind of punchy, but they don't really feel like they're dealing with the real world.
They don't deal with child trafficking. And that's, this is kind of directly what it's sort of about.
Specifically the trafficking of young women. Yeah.
Yeah.
The inexhaustible supply.
Yeah. That was kind of hard to watch. Actually, it was wild. I did not expect that, but I don't know. It kind of went down from there for me. I thought there was some kind of mixed messaging with the movie and sort of what the overall message was. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But I think it was a pretty good Marvel movie. I gave it 3 stars. That's better than average, a little bit. I don't really have a whole lot of love for the MCU. I've seen all of them. I don't really know why, and I kind of feel like this might be the one that makes me stop watching them. Not because it's especially bad, but just because it's like, is this really a great use of my time for 2.5 hours? I don't know, man. I don't know.
You're gonna watch at least one more.
I am gonna watch Eternals. I cannot wait to see Eternals. That's for sure. That's for sure. Mostly because it's Chloe Zhao, and also Rob Stark. But yeah. So that's my first impression.
You have a weird attachment to Richard
All right.
Madden.
Mike,
You mean Rob Stark?
can I ask what your average rating of a Marvel movie is? Like,
I'd
out of
say
stars?
I don't know. I don't know what it is on Letterboxd. Someone's gonna look at it and be like, "You actually gave them like 4 stars or whatever." Because
It's probably like two and a half.
I am completely inconsistent with my ratings system.
I would say,
so
having looked at them and also knowing your general feeling, I would say maybe two.
I'd say probably 2. Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably it.
Oh, better than average Marvel movies. What I'm hearing from you.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
This is
Yeah,
like up
Marvel's-
there. This is kind of the best of Marvel, and that's probably why I'm like reconsidering my decisions to have watched. I don't know, 20 movies, 15. How many?
25?
Are you kidding me? I've
No, I
watched
think
25
so.
of these.
Well, I don't know if you have, but I think there are like 25.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I know I've seen them all, but
yeah. So what about you? What about you, Vito? What were your first impressions?
yeah, I'm gonna rhyme with both you guys. I think, although I will just do a quick, not quite a correction, but it's actually about 2/3 of the movie before we get to the fortress in the sky. I just want to give as much credit as I can to this, and it's when they get there that it really you feel the big hand of the House of Mouse coming down,
Yeah.
saying like, we will now have the fight sequences,
Yeah.
and they won't feel so. But even there's stuff in that fortress that I really like. I like her confrontation with Dracov a lot. That scene is actually is some of the most uncomfortable I've been in a Marvel movie. I didn't know that Marvel movies could make me uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but watching Dracov beat Natasha down in a PG-13 movie that I know that like 6-year-olds are going to go see was very rough to watch. And it made me kind of go, oh yeah, you see, they made a decision a long time ago that they weren't going to do this kind of thing. But now that we've gone so far, they have to. I would much rather, though, live in a Marvel universe where violence against women is portrayed as something that's really ugly, as opposed to just everyone being like a CGI puppet getting punched through walls. I really like the emphasis on the violence as being violent and these people mostly just being humans.
Yeah.
And that's something I really enjoyed about this movie, is that the violence is so much more real and brutal and rough. I like that the villain they don't even try to tell you why what he's doing could make him like a misunderstood guy. They're like, nah, he's kind of the worst. And you're like, yes, finally, thank you for not trying to humanize the monster. I went with it with a good friend of the pod, shout out Mary, and she said I like that he's just an asshole. And I'm actually toning it down a little bit. But it's nice that we just get a bad guy who gets dispatched in a good way.
Yeah.
There could be some mixed messaging, Mike. I hear that. But I gave this a 4 stars, and I was very happy to, because it's just been a long time since an MCU movie just made me feel something.
Yeah.
It was nice to feel something going back to the theaters, especially since the last movie I saw there was Rise of Skywalker, where I felt only loathing and disgust. I got to feel something else, and I got to have a good time doing it. And that's what the summer is for. That's what the movies are for in the summer. So I felt like I got what I paid for.
Yeah, I felt many things during this movie. I probably had more emotions in this movie than any other Marvel movie I've ever seen. Even including Endgame. But yeah, this movie definitely goes places and digs into some of these characters, at least for a Marvel movie.
Yeah. We got to couch everything that way.
It's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And it does this well for a Marvel movie.
Well, at first, it does it well on its own merits. Like, I thought it was shot well, like, just genuinely well, and the dialogue had me engaged, the relationship had me engaged. I thought everything was really good.
Everything
the action
was so different. Everything was so different than usual, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the dialogue you're pointing to felt like there were people actually talking. The action felt rough and brutal. The way that it was shot seemed very strange. Like, it was not the Russo brothers. It had a distinct point of view
Mm-hmm.
And that's so like opening with showing young women being pulled out of cargo containers while there's an acoustic cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit was an inspired and downer choice, but
Oh,
Pretty brutal.
I
incredible.
loved it.
It was
I
amazing.
loved that so much. That is the best Marvel song I think we have in the
Yeah.
entire MCU. Like this cover of "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and it's just like this. It just brings you into this terrible world, this twisted, awful world of children dying and being trained as soldiers, and they're like going off and like you don't see them kill people, but they just put X's on the maps of people's faces, and it's just like this is so sad. Like just a moment ago, there was that whole sequence of them like growing up as innocent kids, and now they're assassins. I feel so like I remember getting a tinge of this feeling in the early MCU of this character and knowing like, oh, she's got a dark past and just leaving it at that. And now it's like, oh, here it is in front of you, and this is like of your worst imaginings.
Yeah, it's darker than you thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, when I saw that, I wanted to go home. Like I was like, I gotta go home and make sure my kids are okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the way they're all holding that was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unexpected. But
Yeah.
given that note, Mike, when/will you show this to your kids?
I will not show this to my kids. I'm not going to. I mean, like, if they watch it, I'll be there. If they're like 15 and they're like, hey, we're going to watch all of the MCU movies. I'm like, wow, all 1,000 of them? And they're like, that's how we're going to do it. It's like, that's going to take you 4 years or something like that.
And you say like, you're like, wait, are you including TV series? They're like, there's TV shows? You're like, oh no.
Canon or non-canon?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, this is stupid. And I'm like, yeah, it is. You're right. But no, I like this will be so if they are doing that, if they're going through the MCU, if they're like, hey, I want to see these movies, this will be one of the ones that I'm there for. This one, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy, probably both of them. Like I'm there for those.
Well, you got to. I mean, 2 is the best one, so yeah. Wow, you guys are just gonna let that one go? Yeah, all right.
I'll let it go. Yep.
Let it go. I'll watch like the first ones with them, but there's so much in there that's forgettable, and I'm not going to sit them down and be like, "Hey, you guys, we really got to watch Black Widow." Like that's the movie we got to watch tonight. We're between The Godfather and Black Widow. That's the choice. That's never going to be the choice in my house. What about you, Vito?
Yeah, because I think I'm still as I have always been more attached to the MCU than either of you. I like these movies. I enjoy them because I love big blockbusters, and these ones are the most consistently entertaining of the big blockbusters besides, Mission Impossible. And I go to the theaters, summers mean blockbusters. Summers mean hot nights and staying up late watching a big colorful thing on a huge screen and then going out with your friends, getting drinks afterwards. Like that's a quintessential summer night for me. And so every time I see one of these, it's both a nostalgia trip for all the times I've already seen one of these, but also because it's cheap thrills. It's a roller coaster. It's the same reason why I watch like the Conjuring movies. I'm just trying to get a thrill, just trying to have some fun. And for that reason, I don't know how many will be out by the time that my daughters are older, but I will watch at least the first 3 phases with them. And then Black Widow, I would probably throw in there too, in that phase 3 when she should have had a movie made about her.
Right.
I would include this in that earlier canon and do it there. And I will show it to them just because I want them to feel the same wonder that I felt.
That's cool.
Okay.
I respect that.
Do you agree with that, Jesse?
I think mostly, well, I think I will just follow with the release pattern. Personally, like I'll start this at the end of Endgame, mostly because like, man, I've just noticed like these Marvel movies are just getting kind of heavier, as they go along, right? They seem to be getting more serious, and then like, I think there's a reason why this one is after Endgame because this is like the most kind of emotionally draining and dark Marvel movie that we've gotten, and Endgame helps build up to this point where the audience can expect something like this. So I want to keep it in its place in that regard. But yeah, I think I'm with you. I won't show this to my kids like on its own. It needs the whole MCU to back it up.
Yeah, it's like reading chapter 23 of a book only.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
But I do look forward to the time where there are 50 like MCU movies out there, and like we can just spend one weekend for the entire year like getting together as a family watching these movies. That sounds like lots of fun to me. And yeah, I'm gonna be especially excited to get to this one and a few others like Mike was saying. But yeah, that's when it's gonna happen. It's gonna be whenever we have this giant MCU year fest. I don't know when that's gonna be. Probably like 10 years.
Yeah, probably. I'm probably gonna say like between 10 and 15. It's gonna fall somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
So you guys are both like all in. Like you're like, yeah, I want my kids to experience these
because they were so important to me. There's stuff that I think about all the time. I mean, superheroes are really important to me. Just like the heroes of the West are important to me. Just like all major mythological things, legendary things, mythic things. I don't know.
Yeah, this seems
cool.
like
That's good.
Yeah. The MCU, they are kind of silly blockbusters, but they are also like modern myth that everybody can connect to. And I think that's why MCU is worth watching, in my opinion. Not because like the movies are so technically great, but because this experience and this mythological land of superheroes is kind of wonderful.
And at least definitely superior in storytelling to the Fast and Furious movies, which I do enjoy. But
I don't know. Them's fighting words. It's about family. Have you noticed all of these movies are about family?
Yeah, it's a very important American tradition. It's interesting. We got to talk about our families.
Oh, the family that we build, not the families that we came from.
Listen, they used to say you can't choose your family. Now they say you can choose your family.
Family. Yeah. That's cool. I see. The thing is, I enjoy going to these movies. Like, I really loved. Like, we went in, we got popcorn. I chatted with like the popcorn guy. I was like, "Hey, so have you seen it?" And he was like, "Yeah, I saw it." I was like, "Was it good?" He was like, "Oh, loved it." We went in. It was like it was fun or whatever. It's fun. I enjoy doing this, but I don't see an end to this. I mean, maybe we will come to an end of this, but I'm guessing that as our kids get older, like there's going to be stuff to go and see with them within this universe. And so like, I would be much more willing to do that. Cause to me, part of what's enjoyable about these, the thing that is most enjoyable about these is the big screen, the popcorn, like the movie watching experience, being there with everyone when you see like the hero make the big save and like everyone claps and cheers.
The most amazing theater going experience of my life was seeing Endgame an opening weekend, and the entire theater collectively lost its shit when Cap gets the hammer.
Yeah.
It was the most exhilarating and incredible experience to be a part of this huge packed theater, and everyone fucking explodes.
Yeah.
Like everyone loses their popcorn is everywhere. People are jumping up and down and screaming in the seats. It really felt like being a part of like a concert. It felt like a hive. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That I love that. I think it's great. But I don't know, when I walk out the doors and the movie's over, I'm kind of just like, yeah, that was a movie. Like it's over. It was.
I high fived a guy on the way out. I didn't even know the guy. I just high fived him, and he was like, "Yeah."
You don't even high five people.
I am not a high fiver, and I just went for it. And the guy was ready. We like locked eyes, and we just knew like we're gonna high five. I don't know why, but like we just saw Endgame. It was great.
It's great. We won.
That's great.
So I guess that's what I mean. Like, I don't mean to say like, oh, these are horrible. I'm not a total like Debbie Downer here, but I'm just like mostly a Debbie Downer.
I mean, you've seen them all, so like we know you're not totally against them.
Mostly when I was like super sick, high fever. So half of it is hardly remembered. But
I mean, it looked like these are going like. Remember that scene in Independence Day where Will Smith punches the alien and he says, "Welcome to Earth, asshole." This is, I'm standing here. I am Will Smith. You're the alien. I'm punching you. I'm saying, welcome to the monoculture, asshole. Like, not that you're an asshole, but this is the monoculture. This is now going to be the thing for forever. And it's not like you have to get on board, but you're always going to have to live with it.
Exactly. It's like Doctor Strangelove. You know, I'm learning to love the bomb.
That's right.
It's just Doctor
That's
Strange.
what it is.
It's just Doctor Strange now.
Do you love Doctor Strange? Yeah. But I mean,
All right.
it's fair. Have your reservations. I think
Yeah.
it's healthy to have reservations about these things, because in the end, the way that the companies who make them view them, they view them as products.
Yeah.
This is content that they have paid for your eye holes, and so that you pay for it. They're all just pieces. They're all just coming off an assembly line, and some of them look different and more personal than others. But that's what they all are, and we just all have to realize that, right?
Yeah.
But see, like you saying that doesn't make me feel better about it.
It shouldn't. I'm not trying to make you feel
better. It makes me
Yeah.
want to go less. That's how I felt at the end of this.
Sorry, Jesse.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It often does feel like a product. Like, I think why it took such a long break from these movies is because, like, it just felt like one was just leading up to the other, which is leading up to the other, which is leading up to the other, but none of them were, like, impactful stories on their own. And so it just felt like you're just watching, like, the longest TV shows, the most drawn-out episodes ever. And, yeah, it just felt like it's a marvel. It's like a machine to push more of the machine on you. So I will say, if they start doing that with these TV shows, which I am not going to watch, if they start doing that, where it's just like you have to watch these shows in order to really enjoy those movies, like just like that moment in Endgame, like when Captain America holds the hammer, like that was from like Avengers 2, right? Or referencing that one, and then referencing like Thor, and then Avengers 1, and you had to kind of see those in order to understand why this is an impactful moment. And if they have that, except behind the wall of TV shows, I'm out. I think I'll stop.
You might have to stop. Loki is incredibly important. Unfortunately.
No, it's okay. I'm out. I'm done.
I think Eternals will probably not be as related.
I'm so excited for Eternals, guys. I am being like, oh, I hate these products that they're pushing us and making us watch, so we watch all of them multiple times. But I'm so stoked for Eternals. I'm like, I can't wait.
I see you're like dancing on your seat.
I'm bouncing.
I'll stop this by saying that, like, you know, we've been talking kind of downs, kind of sideways, I guess if that's a phrase, about the MCU. But, like, I think overall we all agree this is better than most of what we've seen from the MCU. This Black Widow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was fun. Like, I had a fun time. This was a fun movie, guys. Right? Like, did you have fun?
Yeah.
Even though I also like wanted to leave the theater and go and hug my kids.
I mean,
cool.
I was locked in. I had a fun evening, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
It's everything I missed from being in the theaters. It's everything that I wanted, like, Rise of Skywalker to be. I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be coherent. I wanted it to be different and cool. You know?
And it was all of those.
And it was
great.
But what's your question, Jesse?
We've been talking about the MCU, and we all agree this is one of the better ones. Where does this fall in your MCU rankings then? Like, which movies would you say that this is among with the other MCU movies?
Oh, okay. I would say this is second tier MCU for me. I think that first tier we have, you know, Iron Man. I would say Black Panther is up there as well. I would say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, maybe Volume 1, 2.
1, 2, yeah.
1 and 2, yeah. Probably Endgame as well. I think that's the cream of the crop up there, is the ones that were the biggest, had the biggest swings, and I think actually connected with me emotionally on some level. And then I think tier 2 would be, for me anyway, Black Widow. Honestly, probably Iron Man 3. I like Iron Man 3 a lot. You know, sort of there. And then tiers 3 and 4, we have shit like Thor 2. And I'm kind of with you. I'm not a big fan of Captain America. Captain America is like tier 3. Sorry.
Yeah.
The movie's kind of boring.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind
cool.
of where I'm at. Tier 2.
Okay.
What do you think, Jesse?
For me, this is a tier 1 MCU movie. This is like the one I connected with in some way the most. Like, I actually felt things for this movie, and normally in an MCU movie I just watch it and be like, huh, you know. I don't really like feel anything. I just like saw a bunch of crazy action. But it's for me, it's like this movie. It's Iron Man, Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Infinity War is an Endgame, and then as an added bonus, just the Avengers because I really love the Avengers as like that. I've got so many chills watching that. I guess I just like most of the Avengers movie except for Age of Ultron.
Yeah, yeah. The only reason it misses that first tier for me is just the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie. I think are genuinely poor, and it lost me there.
I freaking love it. I love the fight scene, and then I love the comeuppance of Loki with Hulk.
Oh no! Sorry, yeah. I'm talking about Black Widow.
Oh, okay. You're talking about this one.
Yeah. That's
Loki was in it.
That's why it missed tier 1 for me. Was just the last 15 minutes. I thought we're not very good at all, and I was genuinely like kind of checking my watch at that point. Like, all right, we gotta wrap this thing up.
I could see that. I think in this movie what saved the last 15 minutes was wondering what was going to happen to the villain costume person.
Yeah.
Like when she had her helmet taken off. Taskmaster, that's her name?
Yeah.
Okay. When Taskmaster had her like helmet taken off, I genuinely cringed looking at her face and like just knowing that's the implications of like Natasha's actions, right? And then I wanted to know, like, I know Natasha has to save her now. Like, she can't let her out of this building. She can't make the same mistake because she's had some sort of crazy arc over the past many MCU movies. And this is a culmination of that. And it happened. She actually, like, got her out, even though she thought she knew Taskmaster was going to come after her. I thought that was cool. I thought their sequence coming out of the sky was cool, and then that whole plot was well done.
That is really cool. The person who didn't get their comeuppance was Rachel Weisz's character, who, even though she has been slightly under some of the mind control, helped develop a lot of the mind control. She is the one that is responsible for all this shit happening, and it's fine.
That is my problem with this movie. Mixed messages.
And she's wounded, but she'll be fine. And then she gets to go off with all the people who she helped fuck up, and it's fine. It's all fine because she said she was sorry and helped put an end to it.
And Yelena and Natasha are both like, yeah, you're kind of our mom now again.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
No. Also, David Harbour is kind of their dad. What?
Yeah.
Like, these are the people who sold you into slavery.
Yes.
Like, these are not.
And yes, they're sorry, but this is a lot different than like Odin making his sons compete with each other, which is like messed up in its own right, you know. But
that's what you were supposed to do as a father, make your children compete.
Exactly. You see, but no one says that as a father you should sell your surrogate children into slavery. No. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, the whole family dynamic that was so interesting at first because you're wondering if they're going to explode at any second does end up falling flat because, like, nobody explodes at anybody.
Yeah.
Like, they just accept the fact that their foster parents just
did this to them.
Sold them, like, didn't care about them at all.
They're like brainwashed by the mother country, right? They're like, what's the problem? You serve the purpose. You serve the country. That's the greatest thing you can do. Which they also abandon a certain way through the movie for reasons that are very unclear to me as to why they would lose their lifelong allegiance.
There's a lot about this movie.
Actually, yeah.
Do we want to go into likes and dislikes?
Yeah, let's do it.
No. Well, I just wanted to hear Jesse's response.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I guess a lot of that gets like washed away in some of this movie. So like, it makes you think like, they're just part of the same system or whatever. At least for me, that was my experience watching it. So it made me kind of forget that was all happening. But yeah, I have to admit that was worse. It makes me want to bring it down half a star back to the 3.5.
I think I might do that as well. Yeah. Even as I heard the words that were coming out of my mouth.
that doesn't pin.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, this is a part of our new segment for new releases. We're going to try it with this one. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it sticks. Likes and dislikes. What worked? What didn't? And it sounds to me like the final resolution and messaging of this movie kind of didn't work for us, guys.
No.
Yeah?
No.
So the message is, I mean, it kind of works. Like they kill the bad guy, they kill this horrible dude, and he is just evil.
I mean,
He's
he's the
straight up
worst.
evil. He's trafficking
The
women,
worst.
and he he beats women. He has no respect for human life at all,
Or dignity. Yeah.
yeah, like he's one of the most incredibly bad people. Like it's actually great. Like that works. Right?
He's the only true. He is the truest monster in the MCU.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, like we've had arms dealers. You know, we've had intergalactic lords attempting to level the universe. We've even had like petty thieves. But this guy is a human trafficker and a slaver. It's the worst. He's
who's
the worst.
mind controlling people to kill people because he's like, I don't know, trying to control the world, but it doesn't matter anyway. Like it's great. The way Natasha brings him down, it's fantastic. But then in the end, I mean, like full spoilers here, but you know, I guess the way he dies, I thought was pretty good.
It was pretty cool. I would have preferred a hand-to-hand thing, but it was cool.
Well, I was thinking about that. Like,
I kind of wanted him to be executed a little bit. I kind of wanted Florence Pugh to like end him.
Yeah, just like bullet to the head,
something like that. That would have been cool. I understand why they wouldn't be comfortable with that because of her being the new Black Widow and stuff. But I don't know. I know it's supposed to be a joke, but when she's describing the forced hysterectomy that they had to undergo,
it was horrendous.
I laughed out of pure uncomfortableness because I was like, oh man,
this is it's long.
Yeah. And it's clear it's kind of meant for laughs, but it's also deeply disturbing.
Yeah.
And
I will say that right there, being able to laugh at that, the whole reason why that is even possible is because David Harbour's character, who's just so inherently ridiculous, and I know the messaging on him is a little off. I don't even know what to call it messaging. Just his character doesn't really make sense. He's just there and functioning as a comedic relief character because this story is inherently uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's actually pulling it off and synthesizing this mass of crazy emotions everybody was feeling and like soothing them over very, very well. So I will say I like David Harbour and his character for that reason, because in a movie and a script, that's how I think he's functioning here.
I dislike the David Harbour character. I like him for the reasons you stated, and I dislike him because maybe this is the joke of his character, but he is functionally useless.
Yeah.
Yes.
In terms of the plot. And I get that's the joke, but I also it seems a little on the nose to have a male bad guy traffic women. Then we have 3 main starring women, one of whom they all have done horrible, unforgivable things, but one of whom, specifically Rachel Weisz, has done this awful stuff to enslave these other women. And then the only other guy that we really get is a doofus. Who's a doofus who's controlled by the state.
But like, okay, he makes no sense to me as a character because he infiltrated right. So he infiltrated a science facility in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Pretending to be a scientist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He is an idiot.
Yeah.
And he was there with his fake wife, Rachel Weisz, who is
Scientist
a genius,
wife. Yeah.
who is a scientist. And like, okay, things have gotten better since the 90s, but there were a lot of female scientists in the 90s.
Oh, for sure.
In Ohio. Like, it wouldn't have been crazy for her to be the scientist.
The David Harbour from the first 15 minutes is almost not the same David Harbour in the rest of the movie.
He's not.
They're radically different.
It was cool to see him like clean shaven and looking, I don't know, I was excited by that. I was like, oh wow, like I think he's gonna play a nuanced character, and then he doesn't at all. But then also he's a super soldier with super strength, and we see him break out of the prison.
Yep.
But why didn't he do that before?
Because he was convinced.
He's in the middle of Siberia. There's nowhere to go.
But he's a super soldier. He can like.
But it's kind of clear that he is strong, but like not that strong. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't do a lot of super strength things,
I guess.
And he mostly gets his ass handed to him
by even stronger people.
Well, we don't know. we don't know. This is the big Marvel problems. You don't actually know how strong anyone is.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like a 5 on the Richter scale.
Well,
Of
they
strength
say
in
that he is the
MCU.
Russian Captain America, which in your mind is like, oh, okay, so he's as strong as Captain America. But it's very clear he is not as strong as Captain America. But what is clear is that
Well,
Taskmaster is a lot stronger than he is, but probably less strong than Captain America. But we're not sure. We're just led to believe that.
No, I think that she's supposed to be super strong because
Yeah.
she's
What does that
like
mean on a
she's-
relative scale?
She's like a cyborg.
I
Like,
will
so
say,
she's punching with
Yeah.
metal.
she has the super serum. They say that.
Oh,
yeah, I will say that when
But she's
she throws the
okay.
shield, it always cuts into things, whereas when Captain America normally throws the shield, it bounces off of things. So I'm going to say that she's stronger than Captain America.
That seems ridiculous. But I mean, you can say it, and I'm not even like going to fight you on it. But if that's true from a storytelling standpoint, that would be ludicrous to me.
I still think it's ridiculous that David Harbour playing Alexei, playing the Russian Captain
Whatever the
America,
hell his name
was.
is.
What is his name? I don't know his name.
The Red Rocket. I don't know.
Red Robin.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
remember the
he
group
eats
said-
enough hamburgers.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me
Yeah.
in the MCU that he would be stuck in this prison.
Well, it does make sense because of the plot.
It,
They need him in the prison.
that's right. I forgot. The plot makes sense of the plot decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So David Harbour, did he work or did he not work? Did it work? Sort of
Oh,
worked.
he didn't work in terms of like plot and character development, but in terms of just like what the script needed him to do for like comedic relief, I think he does it very effectively, and actually has the comedic relief here has a purpose, and he's the only one really doing it.
When he actually gets a chance to do some heavy lifting, like when he's talking to Florence Pugh when he
Yeah.
goes to see her, it's a great scene. They
Yeah.
work so well together. He does so well playing off of younger women who are deeply disturbed in their characters. You know, that's like a big strength of his.
Yeah.
Especially like talking about Millie Bobby Brown. And
Oh yeah.
he's very good in that. When he can do something, he's great. And when he
Yeah.
can just make a joke, he's still great. Character sucks.
Yeah. It wasn't me
Yeah.
saying anything about him. It's about Alexei. Okay. Cool. I felt okay. Rachel Pugh or Florence Pugh. Sorry. Did she work? Did she not work?
Freaking loved her.
Like Dude,
100%.
she's amazing, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. Like I love like her. I love the sisterly dynamic between her and Natasha. Like throughout this story, like that. One of my favorite scenes is them sitting at a table and just like drinking a beer and
Yeah.
talking to each other.
Yeah.
And then her criticizing Black Widow's moves.
And then
Like-
you flip your hair up like this.
Like-
It's really
Oh,
funny.
it's disgusting. It's like this is
And
really
she does
funny.
it later in the movie.
She does it later, and
Yeah.
then like
Like, ugh.
shivers in disgust.
She's so good.
I love that. I love her commentary about like how Natasha is actually a killer. Only children look up to her.
Yeah.
Which is like that is valid criticism. Yeah, she's just an assassin, and like here we are like celebrating this assassin type character. And she seems far more self aware of that than Natasha ever did, or maybe Natasha was throughout the entire MCU. I don't know. It was cool. It seemed like it added depth to both characters. Her dialogue there, and I also love how she's being set up to be this new Black Widow who's not overly sexualized, like Natasha or what's her name, Scarlett Johansson is. Like specifically, one of my favorite parts of the movie is when they have the white jumpsuits and they both start wearing them, and you see it clearly for the first time. And Scarlett Johansson's like super form fitting, and the cleavage is showing quite a bit. And then hers, Florence Pugh's just like super wrinkled. Like it's not form fitting in the slightest. It's like this is the new Black Widow. She's just going to be completely practical, have a deadpan sense of humor.
Well, it has a lot of buckets. You
It has
know,
a- it
you
has a
put
lot
out
of
so many things in here.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's great.
and I love the character. I love the actress. I really love Florence Pugh as what's the character's name?
Elena.
Elena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's wonderful. I can't wait to see more. She brought a surprising depth.
Yeah, and like the cynical humor that she brings is fantastic. Like it's really well done. like surprisingly well done for the for this movie or any Marvel movie.
Mhm.
I don't know. I thought that was great. I loved the first scene with Natasha and Yelena together.
Yeah.
That fight scene. It felt like the Bourne Identity.
Yeah.
It felt like a Bourne
Yeah.
movie. I thought that was incredible.
Yeah. And also
It was brutal.
the immediate mystery of like, why are you guys fighting? Aren't you sisters? Didn't you come there because you knew she'd be there? Like, what's going on?
Like they're like choking each other out with a curtain.
They
Yeah.
almost killed each other many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did think it was funny though, like Natasha, like we see her changing or whatever, and she's got like the bruise on her back, and Elena is like, "Oh, she's gone through some hard stuff." It's like you probably gave her that bruise when you threw her against the
when you
like,
bicycle kicked her against the door.
yeah, and like the door broke. Yeah, I thought that was funny. What about the fighting? Did it work or did it not work? I've got one more thing after this. Fighting, good or bad?
Good.
Good.
Most interesting fighting I've seen in an MCU movie in a long time.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Also, like
Yeah.
one of my favorite explosions in an MCU movie. Like I know it's not technically part of
Which
fighting
one?
or whatever.
Which one?
The one where she's like stuck in Norway and she's driving a car, I think, to empty out the trash.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, her car explodes. I guess I should expect something like this in MCU, but usually it's not like juxtaposed. This sort of explosion isn't juxtaposed to like such a like mellow scene.
Yeah,
And I
very
thought-
quiet and lonely.
Yeah.
That's something that's weird. Usually, like those scenes take place like in a busy city center. Traffic is gridlocked, or like we're on top of a parking garage and there's a helicopter. No, she's driving down a lonely road, and there's a fight scene that takes place between her and Taskmaster. That's very cool and inventive, but very lonely. It's sparse. It just takes place in this little section of bridge.
Yeah, it felt tense to me, and I
Mhm.
wasn't sure if this was going to make me. If these fight scenes could make me feel tense after everything that I've seen, and it did, and it worked, and it functioned because of the mood and the loneliness, like you're saying.
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I feel like all of the MCU has the problem of you can't see what's going on half the time. But there were parts of this that I thought, like that scene with Pugh and Johansson, where they're fighting in the apartment for the first time. That's freaking incredible. And I really liked the scene, like the final like battle as they're trying to leave
With all the widows?
plane. No, not with all the widows. That was kind of cool.
When Florence Pugh detonates the helicopter? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and like they're falling. Like I don't know, there was something about it that was. I mean, we've seen that a million times.
The
And
falling was cool.
it wasn't, jumping cars out of an airplane. I'll say
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but it was still pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing. What did Natasha work? Did you like Natasha? Did you dislike Natasha? This is the big thing about the movie. It's Black Widow.
Yeah,
It sounds like you're saying it sounds like while this is a question, it sounds like you feeling out the waters before you answer yourself.
No, I'm not. I'm curious. Like I want to know.
Oh, okay.
Like it could be that one of you guys were like, you know what? The worst part about this movie was Black Widow.
No.
Okay.
I loved it. I love Natasha in here. I love finally getting her backstory, finally seeing how dark she really is, because she always seemed haunted. And frankly,
Yeah.
I think she, out of everybody in the MCU, had the best arc. In fact, had the most of an arc of like, at first, like not trusting anybody and being like, the cold-hearted spy, to like realizing that she had something going on with Hawkeye and she could actually trust him, to having a relationship with Captain America, to having a relationship with Hulk, and genuinely gathering this family, which is the premise that is in this movie. And then seeing her, I was going to say her real family, but it's not. It's her fake family, her second fake family. And just how broken that is, and realizing that she's never had a life before. Like, and also that she can never have kids. I don't know why, but that just made like her entire character throughout the MCU seem way more sad, because it's clear that she wanted to. Anyway, like this added a lot of depth for her, not just for this movie, but for the entire franchise. And I thought that was really cool, really well done. And yeah, she has genuine depth here. She has lots of feelings, lots wants and needs, and I thought it was all laid bare. And I thought it went deeper than like she wanted simple revenge for something. She had some deep seated motives going on here.
I felt the same way. I mean, I think especially learning about the the way she got out of the widows was I mean, like, I think a lot of it is pretty fascinating, but I thought that was pretty, like, I don't know. She's one of the good guys. They don't kill people, right? Like the other
Especially
guys don't.
Collateral.
Especially Collateral, and she's
Yeah.
just like,
She straight up firebombed that guy and sacrificed his daughter.
and everyone else in the building.
Didn't
but
care. Just
but
like,
she saw his daughter there, and she was like, "Do it,
do it anyway.
Yeah.
I want out."
That haunted past. It's not simply the trauma that she's been through, although there's tons of that. But it's also things that she's done. Not just when she was mind controlled, things that she's done and was sort of forced to do because of what she had done before in order to get away from it.
Yeah, she wasn't mind controlled, to be clear. It's only later.
Yeah, not actually mind controlled with like chemicals, but more like
Brainwashed?
through I don't know, whatever it is.
Conditioning.
Conditioning. She was conditioned to do it, but she knew she wanted to get out. This is how she had to do it. That's pretty brutal, and she's just been kind of like living with that, knowing that throughout the whole movies.
Yeah.
Thinking about that makes a little bit more sense of like from a plot perspective, like the forgiveness that she gives to Lexi and Rachel Weisz. I can't remember her character's name.
I can't remember her character name either.
But like
Melina.
rather than
Melina.
rather than seeking to kill everyone, like they were also tools of the state, conditioned that way.
Yeah.
It's still like it doesn't make sense, or it does. It's not a final message, but
it like alleviates some that
Yeah.
plot hole, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, it's like
a Band-Aid on it.
she's like developed forgiveness as well. It's not just like she's
Yeah.
gotten away from it, but she's also discovered how to live with it. Something like that. I don't know. She really worked. I thought it was great.
Yeah, full agree. Maybe final question. Should this movie have come out earlier?
Should this movie have come out earlier?
Not necessarily in 2020, but should this movie have come out immediately after Captain America: Civil War?
I will say that I think I answered this one already with earlier when I was talking about when to show it to my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know what you think.
Yeah, basically that's what I'm saying. I think it should come out where it is because Endgame conditioned us for this sort of movie. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I have really strong feelings about this.
You wrote that down.
No, it was.
Oh,
it was your question.
Oh,
it was your question. I don't really have strong feelings about it. I think that I think it could have come out earlier. I think if it had come out last year, it would have been more impactful. It's been 2 years since Endgame happened, so I think a lot of the impact is lost. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel.
I think it should have come out earlier. I don't. Yeah, we just didn't hear. Black Widow was super important for a while, and then she wasn't important, and then they gave us Endgame, and they said, "Oh, look, she's super important again."
Yeah,
and the way that her character has been used has just been super inconsistent and dippy. And it would have been nice if in the 3 phases that sort of comprise the main of the MCU, at least I think as will always be remembered, the main Thanos storyline, the Infinity Stone storyline, right? I would have liked this to be there. I understand why it's not. It has nothing to do with an Infinity Stone. That's probably why they didn't put it there. But it just would have made a lot more sense for an original member of the Avengers to have had her movie there. And Hawkeye, that's fine. It's fine. He didn't need a movie. It's cool. We know him. He's got the bow and arrow, likes his family. That's all.
He's killed people too.
Yeah,
probably. I mean, he helped Natasha kill this dude.
Yeah,
I know that now.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting a whole TV series with
he's going to be passing it on.
But just talking about in general, I think it should have come out back then. I think that this kind of dark storyline would have actually pushed the MCU in a little bit of a different direction. And I just would have appreciated seeing it sooner on time instead of now where it feels like a little bit of an afterthought to me.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I get that, but I don't know. I said what I said.
You did indeed.
Yeah.
All right then. I guess.
Wait, are we not going to talk about the message of the movie?
Well, I think we kind of talked about that, right? Like
we said, it was garbled.
It was a garbled message. Yeah.
Okay.
Like she kills the main bad guy, but like I don't know. It seems to me like I think all of the people who are involved in child trafficking in young women trafficking are all the main bad guy.
Oh yeah,
And this is pretty awful. So
yeah.
that's the
Okay.
mixed messaging.
All right, cool.
Um,
If that's all you want to talk about, I thought you had like a whole like this is what Black Widow's actually about, or is it segment?
I do think it's kind of funny how like it, you know, it's a Marvel movie. They got to make it stick, but it's like in order to make it fit where it does, they make it be like, oh, you know, I've learned this lesson about how I need to bring my original fake family together. So now I've got to go back and help my other family that I've built, you know, get back together. That's
you
like
say
the
family
end.
one more time.
Family.
Family.
I would hit you too, but you're not here.
I thought that was funny. That's all. It's like
Okay.
it was cheesy, not important.
Yeah.
For
It's
this movie.
Still got cheese in there. It's Marvel.
All right.
We've
got one more question, don't we? I think we've got one last thing to
It's
talk
our
about.
classic question. Is this a dad movie? Mike?
No, it's not a dad movie. Go on. I've talked enough trash about MCU. Go Jesse.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this and all the MCU movies, which are more or less dad movies, except for the really sucky ones, which I want to have nothing to do with. Namely Thor Dark World, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I'm pretty sure there are others.
Captain Marvel.
What a dumb movie that
It was really dumb.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh geez. I feel like Morty. Oh man. Oh geez, Rick. Oh, that was not a good movie. Oh.
It was like, do you want to see a blockbuster that's not fun? It's not depressing. It's just not fun. Yeah.
It's got a lot of music from a time period.
Oh man, they really make sure they let you know that it's got music from the time period. So I hear you got a Marvel movie for me? I do, sir. It's got plenty of music from the time period. Well, we should amp that up.
Oh, also,
tight.
I want to be on record stating that Nick Fury losing an eye to a cat is one of the dumbest plot points in the entire MCU.
It's a monster. Did you watch the end credits thing?
Oh no, I know it's a monster, but it's still a cat.
Oh, okay.
It's a cat.
That's
I guess
true.
cats are all monsters. I don't know, but like it's still stupid. It's really stupid.
It feels like MCU is like all of these movies are written by AI, who's like looked at culture for the last 100 years and like, oh, this is what it's like. Star Wars: The Last Jedi was written by AI. I'm sure of it. You know, like halfway.
All right,
That's
we're gonna
all.
move on from
That's
that.
all.
That whatever.
I'm not really sure of it, but it feels like it. It's like
I was with you until you said the
hello-
last part.
Hello, fellow humans. You know, that's what it feels like.
It
This
feels
is
like
what
that
you
because
like.
it's a committee. Yeah, because this is a product.
You're right.
This is
Right.
Kraft mac and cheese,
You're
but this
right.
one is white cheddar.
I'm getting cynical.
Oh, I like
cynical.
Kraft mac and cheese. Don't disown that.
I really
It's a product.
liked a lot of things about this movie.
I really like Kraft mac and cheese.
I really like Kraft.
All
mac
right,
and cheese.
Vito, moving away from Mike's conspiracy hour, is this or is this not a dad movie?
It is a dad movie insofar as I think MCU, excepting for the stupid ones, up to this point are. That's what I'm gonna say. Just because, like, we're gonna do that thing where we watch the stuff with our kids. Mike chooses not to spend his time that way. That's fire. That's fine. I don't watch baseball. Mike does. We all use our time in different ways.
I don't.
Yeah,
I thought
Mike
you watched
watches.
baseball.
No,
I
Mike
keep
watches
trying
all
to.
the sports. All the sports.
No, my kids don't let me.
Oh.
My kids have control.
Well, that's
over-
good because
over
if I
the
was your
TV.
kid, I'd be like, we're not watching baseball.
Well, that's what they say. So I don't know.
But anyway, you choose. We all choose to use our time in different dad ways, doing different dad things with our dadlings, which I'm calling kids. And Jesse and I are going to choose to spend time with our dadlings, consuming some MCU content.
We're gonna watch all the Furious movies multiple times. Fast and Furious movies.
I mean,
the Fast movies. We're not. I'm kidding.
You can't even commit to the
might.
bit for like more than 10 seconds.
It did
Family.
also. All right, thinking about like the amount of content in the MCU, though, it did also occur to me that we could watch like multiple TV shows all the way through, and that would be the same amount of time as the MCU with its TV shows added on. So it's like I have a lot of options here.
The TV shows are thankfully quite short, so that helps.
Oh, but you mean like other TV shows, right? Or like the
Yeah,
Marvel?
no, I
Yeah.
mean like
So you could like watch Mad
if you
Men
think
in
it,
the time that it took.
yeah, you could have the whole MCU and with all of its content, or you could watch like 3 legendary TV shows or something.
I mean, are you gonna watch Mad Men with your kids? Like,
No, probably not.
Probably not.
You
Probably
gonna
not
watch The
Mad Men.
Wire with your kids? Like, what are you guys talking about? But it's a good point. I take
Breaking
it.
Bad,
The Sopranos.
The Sopranos.
You can watch The Sopranos with your kids. You're gonna watch
I
Breaking
don't-
Bad again with your kids?
No, probably.
Yeah,
not.
probably not. I have to like maybe all the. Would I watch The Office with my kids?
Yeah.
You know, we need Not Your Father's
I
TV
watched
show
The
sometimes.
Office. I watched The Office with my mom. I mean, like I was like 16 or something.
I watch it with my mom too. She loves
Yeah.
it. Well, she laughed at it. It was uncomfortable sometimes, but that's fine.
I introduced my mom to it.
She works in an office, so
Yeah. No, I watched like the first 3 seasons before to like. So I had it on like one of those little video iPods.
Oh, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that? And I was finally like, you know what, mom would love this.
yeah.
And so we watched it, and she did. I was right.
So when we do a spin-off into Not Your Father's TV shows, Jesse, you and Mike will be very much in charge of handling that.
Cool.
I
I'm down.
fully support you. I fully support you. That's just that's not my bag.
Jesse, how do you feel about Everybody Loves Raymond?
Oh, it's always so uncomfortable, like 3/4 of the way through. It's always just like really like, oh, here are my emotional problems. I'm going to state them very clearly and very succinctly so that way you can understand me and I can understand you. And the other person does it right back to them. And then that's always just like, it was funny. And then this happened. Now it's like, it just feels very much like a family drama and awkward. And I'm not sure if I want to keep going.
Interesting. I've defined my entire relationship on that movie, or on that show.
Really?
So. No.
Yeah.
No, I want to hear. Okay, no, we're not gonna end Black Widow by talking about Everybody Loves Raymond.
No, we're not.
But I am just gonna say, if you guys ever have room for Cheers on your Not Your Father's TV shows, I would talk about Cheers for a long time. I love Cheers.
Cheers.
That's my show.
I haven't seen that in a long time, but I watched it with my parents. Yeah,
It's the best. But okay, thank you so much for joining us on our new release episode covering the first of the MCU for us.
Yeah.
First time we've ever done it. And maybe we'll check back in later in the year. But for our thoughts, Jesse rated it 3.5 stars, as did I. Mike rated it 3.
Yep.
Jesse and I both brought down our ratings after some discussion. We're like, wait, what are we doing? Lower. But we all still at least liked it, at the very least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And go out and see it. Have yourself a good time. Maybe
Get some
don't bring
popcorn.
kids under 10. You
Yeah.
know?
no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh like digging into her leg with a knife. That's when I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, no. I'm so happy no kids are here. And then a kid started crying right behind me.
Yeah.
Like, no, why did you do that? Why did you bring your kid here?
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
yeah.
Enjoy it. Have fun. Either see it at home, see it at the big screen, and tune back in. Next week we're going to be doing another detective movie in our series, so that's exciting.
Exciting. I wonder what it'll be. I wonder if you can guess.
That'd be cool. Try.
Giant Z's. That's my hint.
But for all of us at Not Your Father's
Sorrow?
Movies, I'm Vito.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jesse.
Have a good night.